Welcome back to the broadcast. You're watching Choice 2017 here on KTN News. The numbers are starting to stream in. Vote tallying still underway in a lot of the polling stations in the, especially the counties of Busia and Bungoma. We have had some provisional results from a few polling stations from the two counties. And there are two races that we are keeping an eye on, and that is the Kandui parliamentary race and the gubernatorial race in Bungoma between in Busia between Polo Tuoma and Sospita Ojamong. Duncan Hamba and Chris Aero are on standby to give us any new numbers. But as we wind up, gentlemen, Dr. Awiti did say something about the voter turnout, the apathy that he seems to say that he can see from the numbers that we are seeing. And compared to the crowds that we have been seeing on the campaign trail, what's your take on the voter turnout today?
Well, when you speak to so many people, even before the party primaries today, most of Kenyans are so disappointed with the elected leaders. So they say there's no reason for you to go and queue for hours on end and give somebody a job who a few days later becomes a millionaire. When you speak to so many voters, they say a number of the MCA's governors, 4 years ago, they wouldn't afford a cup of tea at a five-star hotel in Nairobi. But now there's been some magic. They've been able to harness the factors of production. Now, instead of even buying a cup of tea at a five-star hotel, they're able to acquire those very hotels where they were not able to afford a cup of tea. So many people are so disappointed with the elected leaders. They see no reason as to why they need to go and cast their ballots.
Right. Let's talk about, very quickly, ODM today purported to crack the whip on some of the members they have been saying have been engaged in violent activities, and as far as their supporters are concerned, fining the Migori governor, Okoth Obado, and the nominated Senator Elizabeth Ongoro, and barring Ongoro from contesting in Ruaraka. Is that maybe a semblance of the party trying to instill some discipline, or is it a drop in the ocean?
You know, going by the contest in Machakos, that seemed to have fell on deaf ears. Nobody noticed that. I think what ODM was trying to do with that is just to save face. This was very high-profile display of utter indiscipline and mayhem by senior party leaders. Elizabeth Ongoro, Okoth Obado is a governor. Elizabeth Ongoro is a senior party official, former MP in Nairobi, and a significant female leader. So the spectacle of that was basically putting a spotlight on Raila, and I think everybody was waiting for him to do something. So ODM appearing to crack the whip is basically a facade. It is just kind of musical chairs, but substantively, we will still not see discipline within the party, especially in the conduct of the nominations that we'll be seeing in the next few weeks, because they don't have the capability. And once it breaks out, it's all mayhem. And the process is clearly not believable. And some of the grievances that will then spill over to expressions of violence, in my view, are founded. And it's just basically an indictment on the capacity of the party to conduct credible and believable nominations.
Right. This must,
if I may just make one point on that. When you ask a sitting governor to pay a fine of 2 million bob, I think that's really paltry and it's an insult. Because the whole essence of asking somebody to pay a fine is to make the fine so huge that anybody who thinks of violence will not engage in that. Right now, all the guys who are running for MCA on the ODM card or any elective side on the ODM card, believe you me, they can spare 2 million shillings for a fine. One would have expected that if there was evidence these people participated in violence, they would actually be suspended or expelled from the political party so they're not able to participate in the elections.
All right. Ahead of the Nairobi nominations, the issue of Ruaraka, do you think it's fair to Elizabeth Ongoro? She has been barred. Both of them, herself and TJ Kajwang, were summoned by the disciplinary committee, but she has been barred from contesting in Ruaraka. Do you think that has ended up fairly?
That confirms to you that a political party is a special purpose vehicle, that Mr. Raila Odinga's word is law at ODM. Because if there's a candidate who wants to go run in Ruaraka against TJ Kajwang, why would you suggest to her that I don't want you to run in this particular seat, go look for another constituency? And you know, Elizabeth Ongoro has invested so much resources in that constituency. Probably she knows so many of the voters by name, you know where they stay. She's done a lot of research. So why would a political party, simply because you want one particular candidate, tell Elizabeth Ongoro, wait a minute, we don't want you to run here, go run another political party?
Finally, gentlemen, based on today's activities, how do you see the rest of the nominations in the rest of the counties panning out?
You know, as we said in the beginning, this is the oldest of the political parties that will be on the ballot, hopefully in 2017. And it's been that symbolic. You know, we may expect something better from Jubilee because they've all the state machinery and all of the money and the resources to organize a smooth process. What are we going to see with Amani? What are we going to see with Wiper? Is it going to be the same levels of disorganization? As Disma said, this is not something that they do because we're asking them to get money from their pockets. Taxpayers are investing in these organizations as vehicles for political competition. But are we getting a fair shake of our tax money in terms of competent processes that are believable to get us into a competitive political process?
Thank you, this was you.
Yeah, but my fear is that from these party primaries that we see today, we are going to get mediocrity. Mediocre people winning the party primaries, and then they'll go to the National Assembly or the Senate or win very serious position. So after this election for the next 5 years, I don't think Kenyans will have the capacity to hold their breath because it's going to be the same status quo.
Thank you. Very harsh in that measure by my guests tonight, Dr. Alex Awiti and Dismas Moko. Thank you so much. And of course, that is where we wind up on the broadcast. But remember, we are keeping an eye on things. Our wall-to-wall coverage continues. Numbers are starting to stream in very quickly at the the FC grounds where Dan Kanayamba is. That polling station, Sospito Jamong has gathered 236 votes. Otoma Paul has gathered 216, neck and neck in the Busia metropolitan area. It would seem, but of course, very few numbers coming from very few polling stations. We are expecting things to be done, according to ODM officials, by around 10 to 11. In Bungoma, Kijana Amala polling station, John Makali, 142 votes against Edwin Sifuna's 12. Mechimeru, Makali, 425. Edwin Sifuna, 209. And Kimugui, Makali, again, 425 against Edwin Sifuna's 135. Those two races we are keeping an eye on. Kandui parliamentary ticket and the Busia gubernatorial race between Ojamong and Paul Otomo. Many thanks for staying with us. Linda Ogutu is coming up next with KTN Prime with more numbers and more action and more updates from the three counties, Machakos, Bungoma, and Busia. Bye for now.